Hello everyone, good evening, good afternoon from wherever you're joining us from. Welcome to another wonderful edition of the Women Techsters Open Day. It's a pleasure to have you on the call and we'd like to get to know you. This is the July edition of the Women Techsters program. It's the Open Day event that is meant to advocate for more women in the tech space. It's an advocacy program aimed at reaching young women all over the world, especially in Africa, where we get to tell them about tech and the opportunities that are available in the tech space. We are confident that you're going to learn a lot from today's event, and we are super glad that you are here to enjoy the whole event with us. So as you come in, it would be great to get to know you. We like your name, where you're joining us from, just in the chat box. So it just goes like, my name is Tony Oladeji, and I'm joining in from Nigeria. So your name and the country you're joining us from in the chat box, so we can get to introduce you and get to know you. So give a few minutes for people to drop that in the chat box, and then we'll proceed with what we have in stock for you today. Thank you so much once again for joining us on the event. So let's get to know you, your name, and where you're joining us from. I want to see names in the chat box and the country that you're joining us from. Oh, chat is disabled. Okay, let me just quickly check that and see why that's disabled. Okay, so we can try the chat box now. I think it should work now. Yes, can you just check the chat box and let me know if that works? Yes, hello Eniola, thank you so much for bringing that to my attention. So your name and where you're joining us from? Perpetual, glad to meet you, but I can't see where you're joining us from, so it'd be great to get to know that. Okay, so I can see a lot of people. I'm losing track of the messages, but I'm trying as much as possible to get the names I can. So Hank, thank you for joining us from Egypt. Christabel from Kenya. I can see Princess from South Africa. It's great to meet you. Sakile from South Africa. Tolulope from Nigeria. Ademola from Nigeria. Great to meet you. Veronica from Ghana. So nice to meet you all. I can see Cynthia from United Kingdom. It's a pleasure to meet you. Gift from Lagos. Zainab from Ghana. Taiwo from Nigeria. Esther from Nigeria. So it's a pleasure to meet every one of you today. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have your friends, your colleagues that might have registered for the event and probably they forgot, it would be great for you to send a quick notification to them, just to remind them that the open day is already live and they do not want to miss out on it, right? So shortly now, I'll be handing over to my colleague, Blessing Ashi. She'll be giving our opening remarks and then she'll be introducing our executive director on the call for our welcome address. So stay tuned. I'll read more from my attendees list when we get back on the call with me. See you soon. Blessing, over to you.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning from wherever you're joining us from. So good to have you join us again. This is the Women Techsters Open Day for July edition. It's so exciting to have you join us today. Special thanks to all of our speakers and the moderator. Thank you so much for being a part of this. My name is Blessing Ashi. I am the Women Techsters Programs Lead at Tech for Dev, and I'm super excited to have everybody join us today. Just so you know, this is the 7th edition for the year. And then we already know that there are a couple of programs that have been running. We have the Women Techsters Bootcamp. The call for application for 2.1 just ended. We have the fellowship, that is, the process is ongoing. Orientation is scheduled for sometimes in August. So yeah, there's a whole lot Tech for Dev is doing, and we are super excited to have you women and ladies join us today. I believe you have expectations for today. I believe you have your plans, you have something you have on mind. I also believe that our our guests, that's our speakers today, will be doing justice to some of the questions you have in your mind. If you're a first timer, congratulations. Thank you for joining us today. If you've joined us before, you know how we do it. Whilst the session is going on and you have questions, you might want to use the chat box to drop your questions. Or when it's time for the question, you might also want to use the chat box to ask your questions. Like I said, welcome everybody once again. So good to have you here. And yeah, I'm also ready to learn. I'm ready to network. I'm ready to meet with people. Yeah, I'm ready to also ask questions as well. So once again, welcome to the Women Techsters Open Day for July edition. So it gives me great joy to always do this every month. It gives me great joy to always do this. So just so you know, especially for people who are joining us and do not really have information about this, I'll be introducing someone very special and dear to us at Tech for Dev. She is the executive director at Tech for Dev. She currently or recently became one of the Forbes individual for non-profits, and just yesterday she was also one of the 10 people that was recognized or that is recognized by JCI Nigeria for the tremendous work being done for people in Nigeria. Yeah, you know who I'm speaking about. There's no other person but our quintessential executive director at Tech for Dev, Oladipo. Hi, Diwura. So good to have you join us. Congratulations.
Hi, Blessing. I don't know. Blessing always makes it a point of duty.
Okay, please go ahead.
At every point in time to go slightly overboard by introducing me in the most amazing way. Thank you so much, Blessing. I mean, I think that's very kind of you to mention that. So I would say to everyone here today, I'm super excited. As every open day comes around, it's just me in my excited nature. And my excited nature means that I am super glad to have the women who are here today, you know, who are going to be kickstarting their journeys in tech. So I will start out by saying a warm welcome to everyone. And I'm thanking you for joining the July 2022 edition of our virtual Women Techsters Open Day program. And like Blessing said earlier, this is the 7th edition of the Open Day in 2022. We are most elated and excited to have the wonderful women from across Africa join us today. I mean, I looked into the chat section. I saw someone from Cameroon who is living in South Africa. I saw someone from Tanzania, from Ghana, from Nigeria, from Egypt. And it's so interesting to have all of you join us today to learn about how to pursue your interest in technology. I would especially like to welcome all of you, as I know that you're prospective women techsters, and women techsters in this context are women who are thinking of starting careers in tech, who have joined us today to learn about starting your careers in tech through the Open Day program. In my usual style, I love to use this avenue to provide updates on the progress we've made through our other Women Techsters sub-programs. Earlier this month, we had an extremely exceptional event as we admitted over 1,400 women into our Women Techsters Fellowship Class of 2023. It was the most rigorous process of 4 months. We screened over 17,000 applications across Africa, and we finally got the opportunity to unveil our Women Techsters Class of 2023 Fellows, who will kickstart a year-long journey with us, learning in software development, blockchain, product design, product management, mobile development, 3D animation and mixed reality, cybersecurity, and data science and artificial intelligence. The orientation for the Women Techsters Fellowship Class of 2023 commences next week, Monday, which is the 1st of August. Also, we had 428 women Techster bootsters complete their demo day and graduate from the bootcamp cohort 2.0. We're currently working on screening the applications from 5,271 women who have applied across 15 African countries and more, and who are looking forward to start out their tech careers or journeys rather in the cohort of in the Women Techsters Bootcamp cohort 2.1. Let me first start by saying that Tech for Dev is a nonprofit organization that creates access to decent work and entrepreneurship opportunities and platforms for Africans. And we do this through digital and technology skills empowerment and advocacy. Our broad vision is to equip Africans with digital and life skills that foster economic prosperity, financial freedom, and sustainable development. Women Techsters is an initiative of Tech for Dev. Our aims to bridge the digital divide between men and women in the technology ecosystem. Through our pilot program, Nigerian Women Techsters, we enabled almost 3,000 women between the ages of 16 to 40 across Nigeria. And we did this to ignite interest in pursuing careers and businesses in technology. Driven by the success story of numerous women on the program, women like Fatima, like Tommy, like Patience, we carved a new ambition and a dream to replicate this model across Africa. And we wanted to do this by providing more women access to opportunities to launch careers and businesses in technology. Our grand dream by 2030 is to reach 5 million women in Africa, empowering them with the knowledge and skills to partake in the technology industry in Africa and the world at large. We believe that empowering change for women across Africa, as well as providing them opportunities to access employment and entrepreneurship, would help achieve a 50-50 male to female ratio balance within the technology space. The Women Techsters Open Day is our monthly virtual program organized for women across Africa to learn about leveraging the power of technology to start and advance their careers and also create technology and tech-enabled businesses. The Open Day is an opportunity for women to interact with other successful women, like the women we have on the call today, who you will meet shortly, who have built careers or businesses in technology over the years, and who will share their personal experiences, speak about possible career paths and business opportunities, and help women appreciate the importance of acquiring digital and deep tech skills in this digital age. I would definitely not end this without appreciating our wonderful partners, Microsoft, Islamic Development Bank, and Central Bank of Egypt, for collaborating with us to bring the initiative to life this year. And we look forward to continually impacting and improving the economic realities of women across Africa. I would like to say this on a final note, that we would love to really appreciate everyone for being here today as you commence your journeys to becoming women in tech. And I'd like to say a special thank you to our guest speakers, Laura, Ibitisam, and Nada, and our wonderful moderator, Ronel, for taking time out of their very busy schedules to share stories of their journeys as women in tech. I look forward to a wonderful and fruitful conversation. I will be here in the background listening to the wonderful conversation that is about to kickstart. I would say a big thank you to everyone for listening, and right over to you, Toyin.
Thank you so much, Deora. It's a great pleasure to have you on the call and to hear all the wonderful things that Tech for Them is doing to help young women across African countries reach their goals and their dreams. So welcome, ladies, you're in the right space, and I assure you, you're going to learn a lot of things today, things that will be essential to your career growth in the tech space. I can see a lot of people from Tanzania, South Africa, Cameroon. I might not be able to welcome you all, right? But just now we're going to play a short video that is just going to furthermore enlighten what we do at Tech for Them, so you can see it for yourselves and hopefully be a part of us in the nearest future. So enjoy.
There's an African proverb that says that when you train a woman, you train a nation. When you train a woman has the ability to provide some sort of like 3x on ROI or whatever training it is that you give to a woman. If the training is meant to provide some sort of financial freedom, for example, for the woman, which is the case of the Women Techsters, we believe that women are able to then provide for their families, which then immediately also allows for the families' income generation to impact that of their immediate community or impact that of the nation. The problem we're trying to solve when we initiated the Women Techsters program is being able to bring women to partake within the opportunities that exist within the technology ecosystem, and actually finding a balance, which is having more women join the ecosystem to be able to both partake of the opportunities and also be able to contribute to the industry.
By 2030, we want 5 million women to be empowered with technical skills and use their skills to either start up their tech-enabled businesses, further their career in the tech space, or establish their own tech startups and tech-enabled businesses.
Microsoft has been an amazing and fantastic partner. Just beyond supporting us with funds, has actually gone into supporting us, like giving us technical support, like donating Azure to us, donating licenses to us, and supporting us with other forms of software and hardware to ensure that we're able to deliver effectively on whatever program it is we're partnering on.
Today is the meet and greet event that is holding in Lagos State. The meet and greet event is organized for our Women Techsters program beneficiaries to be able to have a physical connect. Because of the COVID-19, we're not able to have a physical meet-up. So most of our training has been carried out virtually, and we have women connecting online.
Community building is very important to the Women Techsters initiative. It's a community that allows women to grow, women who haven't ever been in the tech space, to grow, encourage themselves, and just keep on pushing themselves to succeed.
If I were to describe my experience in the Women Techsters program, awesome.
I would say it was phenomenal.
For me, it's inspiring, mind-blowing.
My experience at the meet and greet has been so beautiful. It was so nice to say, Amaka, you are Favor, you are Afsat.
So it's been really awesome how that those you related with virtually, you're now able to put a face to the name. I've tried many things. I've tried to go for other classes and they just didn't work out. It looked impossible. At a point, I just felt maybe this is not for me. Tech for the Women Techsters, Microsoft gave me the opportunity to see that it is for me. And it's a big thank you from this end.
I'm so grateful that there's a platform like this that other women can join and scale up in tech.
They're doing so much to see that women become better versions of themselves and go out there and explore tech.
I thank Microsoft for their open hands, for believing so much in the girl child. I think the best way to appreciate these two wonderful organizations is by not stopping here.
To any young woman out there who is trying to get into the tech space, I would say, believe in yourself. You can actually do it. Tech is not as difficult as people think it is. There are tons of career paths within technology that even have nothing to do with you writing a line of code. I mean, for example, there's product design, there's product management, there's data analysis, and amongst others. So I would say to every woman, believe in yourself. Whatever you think you can achieve, you can do it.
Hello everyone, I trust you enjoyed that video and I trust it sparked some sort of interest in you that anything is achievable. The ladies you met on the call were all beneficiaries of our Women Techsters Fellowship Program. The ladies you saw on the video, sorry. So I'm sure that they have inspired you in some sort of way to push on with your desire to get something in the tech space and be a prominent name in the tech space. So very shortly, I will be introducing the panelists for today. I'm super excited to do this. I have the honor of introducing the amazing ladies who will be sharing their tech experience with us on the call today. And I'll start by introducing Laura Manzon. Laura is a group product manager at Offazen. Her professional life has taken many parts over the last 13 years. After completing a master's degree in systems and computer engineering, she co-founded a software company in Colombia and worked on a variety of public and private sectors projects while also teaching object-oriented programming and IT for business at Universidad de los Andes. I hope I got that right. So when Laura moved to South Africa, she went back to her roots as a front-end developer, and now she manages Offazen's core products and internal tool. When Laura is not bringing roadmaps to life, she's spending time reading books, playing video games, and cross-stitching and snuggling with her two human-sized dogs. Hopefully we get to have a peek at Laura's dogs today. Maybe they'll just pass by the background and we'll say hi to them. We also have on the call today Ibtisam Saki. Ibtisam Saki has been in the IT industry for over 20 years. She started her career as a front-end developer and then moved to UX consultancy. She has worked with diverse industries such as health, insurance, telecom, tourism, education, environment, and culture. Lately, she designs bank solutions and leads design practices. Ibtisam also leads a chapter in Ladies That UX in Casablanca, where she mentors juniors and speaks about design culture. She co-founded UX Nation Urge last year to help UX designers in Africa meet their career goals one step at a time. It's a pleasure to have you on the call today, Ibtisam. And we also have Nada. Nada is a computer engineering graduate from INSAMS University. She's a full stack developer with great experience in Python, Flask, React, Postgres, JavaScript. She has keen interest in AutoSAR, embedded system, mostly automotive, problem solving, C++ programming generally. She also has interest in graphic design and art. Moderating this session today, we have our moderator, Ronel Klink. Ronel has shared her passion for integrating digital tools in teaching and learning for over 20 years. She's regarded as a thought leader in the education industry and has shared her expertise by conducting countless webinars and hands-on workshops, leading keynote presentation and panel discussion at a range of conferences in South Africa, Botswana, Kenya, and India. In her current role as account executive for basic education at Microsoft, Ronel works with a range of partners, provincial departments of education, leading private school groups, e-learning curriculum teams, subject advisors, and educators. Everything she commits to is intentional to aid, support, and impact education positively and foster a culture of empowering and encouraging others to do the same. Ronel's vision for South Africa is to become the hub of modernized digital education for Africa. We're so glad to have you amazing ladies on the call today, and we are so sure that your stories will be insightful to shedding light on the career path of most women that are on the call today. So I'll be handing over to Ronel to moderate the session with the speakers on today's call. Over to you, Ronel.
Thank you so much, Toy, and good afternoon, everyone, or good evening and good morning, wherever you are. It is such a privilege to spend some time with you today. We've got a phenomenal panel of experts today that I'm hoping that I could learn something from them today. I'm always ready to learn something new. For me, careers in tech is quite an important aspect for women. And choosing a career, let alone choosing one in information technology, is not necessarily easy. You're quite well versed and equipped today, joining this forum where you can learn more about resources and people sharing their stories on how they actually navigated this space in becoming a woman in technology. So Laura, I want to start with you, and maybe you could share with us what was important for you in terms of your learning journey from a high school perspective, how you went about selecting subjects, and then eventually going into higher ed or the tertiary space as well. What did you find, helped you, and is it really key or essential to select subjects in STEM education?
Definitely. Thanks, Ryan, for the question. So I gotta say it all started with passion. One of the things that I've always really enjoyed is video games since I was like a little kid. And at some point in my teenage years, that love for video games and that passion kind of transformed into curiosity, right? And so I started thinking like, this is so cool, this is so interesting. How are these games made? Like, what does it take to actually produce one of these things, which naturally drove me into seeing things like design and programming. And so I started doing a little bit of research on the side and learning a bit more. Early in the days, I got into Flash and ActionScript, and also like I've always been very interested in like the creative process, and it kind of all evolved into that. I also gotta say that my family was instrumental in it. My dad is an engineer, and he quite early on got that curiosity in me. He taught me engineering stuff, and so the engineering side was always a part of my life. And that's where the STEM courses actually played a role. So in Colombia, programming and software engineering is part of a bigger engineering like degree. And math was instrumental, algebra, just like the general sciences. So in school, obviously, I focused a lot around that and physics and chemistry. And it naturally, when I got into my engineering degree, I continued down the path.
Thank you so much, Laura, for sharing with us. I think it's quite key what you said, starting with passion. Without that, you're not able to succeed, especially during challenging times in your career as well. So, Ibtisam, I want to come to you, and maybe if you could share your story around, how you came into be a woman in tech. And I know, maybe just as an add-on as well, I know that you're very passionate, using Laura's word, about mentorship as well, which I really want to come back to what Laura said. Her dad's an engineer, and hence she had a lot of support, and she could really use him as a go-to person. So, why do you think, first of all, in terms of STEM education, what has your journey been? And then second of all, why is your passion so important around mentorship?
Thank you, Ronel, and I'm very happy to be here. So thank you for inviting me. I would. It was. I was smiling when Laura was talking, because it's quite the same path. I was also passionate about computers as a kid, and especially computer games. Like Prince of Pops, for example, Prince of Persia, and what happens is my family wasn't really in the tech industry. My dad is a teacher, and my mom working in a pharmacy. So it's I was the only one who was really into computers and other electronic stuff, not just computer. This is why I did actually an electronic university. So and then I dropped it, because I wanted to go into a career with computers, software engineering. So I started again another academic path. So I shifted like three times in my studying journey. So first electronic, and then software design, and then multimedia and design. So it was for me, it's not a linear path to go where you want to go. So you can shift. And again, it's only what you really want, and your real why, who will gives you the power and the force to go where you really want. For example, like I spent 8 years in a company. I had like the best job ever as art director, but I dropped it because I discovered UX design and the collaborative and agile way of working. And then I dropped it, and I started learning again from scratch, and going into a new adventure, that is UX design, service design, and everything that is related to the new way of working and the new way of making software design.
Thanks very much, Ibtisam. What you said to me, and what was quite prudent in your messaging, is that like you said, your journey in your career is not linear. And I think case in point, if I share my story with you, I started off as a lecturer teaching young adults at a college, and then moved into the school environment. And I was a teacher for 19 years before joining Microsoft, and I've been there at Microsoft for 5 years now. So, you can see, one of the statistics actually shows that we are all going to be changing or evolving. And, on average, you're going to be changing your job at least 14 times in your lifespan. And Ibtisam, you are actually a prime example of that, so Nada, based on the discussion that Laura and Ibtisam has now just had and kicked off, maybe you can share your learning journey with us, and why you are so passionate about technology.
I'm going to share a different perspective. I wasn't interested at computers at all when I was growing up. I was always, like the person that shies away from technology and is incapable of doing, a complex computational stuff. And I would often get stopped in my tracks whenever something I get something wrong, or I get a weird message on the screen. So I was never the tech person, and I guess that most of my engineering friends, they come from video games background. They always have tried video games at a certain point at their lives, but I was not that person at all. And I would agree with Ibtisam on the point that the journey was not linear. Growing up, I really loved math, and at certain point, I chose to specialize in math, and that brought me to engineering. In Egypt, the engineering bachelor degree lasts for 5 years. The first year is generic, so you tend to study a lot of different fields, and then you specialize for 2 years. Also, another generic, but like a less inclusive field, and then you get to minor in the thing that you want. So at first I thought I wanted to study like mechanical engineering and aeronautical engineering, but later on I discovered programming. I had a programming course at college which I loved, and I found like it was closer for me than math itself. So I like the way how I can do a program, or I can write a code, and you can write a code, and if the Sam can write a code, and Laura, and each has a different algorithm, and they all do the same thing. You don't have to walk the same line as everyone else. So that was it for me. Um, I spent the following 2 years wanting to either study that or power management engineering. And I only studied power management engineering because I did not see myself as the cool person, the software engineering person. And that was a very, very big struggle for me because I never saw myself as the tech person. So I wanted to study power management, but I was very terrible at it, and I had to give up, giving up, and I got into studying computer engineering. So I wish I had more of like structure in the journey, but really it wasn't. During studying computer engineering, I was working as a part-time graphic designer. I was working at the startup that was making a video game. So I was creating their assets. I was never part of the coding process, even though I was studying coding. So I guess that we should discuss this a little more further in further questions. But that was my journey.
No, Nada, thanks. As you were talking, I was reading through some of the discussions in the chat, and people were agreeing with you. And thanks for sharing your very different perspective on your learning journey, because some people were saying that's exactly what they're doing. They're jumping from one thing to the next, you know, a bit of website design and a bit of programming, and, you know, and that's what we do. And we think, oh, am I actually making an impact? But you absolutely are. And if you are a female, even more so, right, in the tech space. So, you know, I want to come back in terms of, you know, you've shared so much in terms of your learning journey. And Ibtisam, I want to come back to you to talk about that mentorship that is really key in your career. Because, you know, I've had several mentors in my life, and they all do different things in the tech space as well. And, you know, you may see like, how does a teacher get involved in tech? But I was an IT teacher for 19 years before joining Microsoft. But Ibtisam, what is the key, you know, what is the key role of a mentor, and why are you again so passionate about having a mentor as well?
Because there was something in my life that I really, I'm really grateful for it, is that I met in my non-linear journey, I met a lot of people that shaped what I am now. That was more. That was the biggest learning I had. Plus the academic learning. I mean, there is the academic learning that is very important, because we need to be trained to some tech skills and stuff like that. But having someone who will be sharing with you advices and sharing with you your experience is actually what guided you through your trainings and through your choices and career choices. And when I was studying, I did a lot of training in companies, like in summer or after my course. I was I had like half-time courses in my school, so I could in the afternoon go to it was a really small company, and there was the boss was really like a teacher more than the boss. So he guided me through this through my training journey, but also through the journey of me going as a professional. And I guess it's important to have a mentor to go as a professional, because you only being in the school is not very viable as a way of doing. You have to mix with some trainings at companies or at startups, or going into meetings like this to network and talk to others and ask questions. Asking questions maybe is the first important thing in life, not just as a student, but also like in your life, like just ask questions. And in our in UX, ladies that UX or UX Nation, we are mentoring juniors, and just to help them to advising them or sharing with them real life professional experiences. And I guess this is better than just reading blogs or books, because every time the real experience brings more information and more knowledge than just reading or just going to school. Going to school is very good. That's not the question, but having a mentor, I guess, in this way is important. But having a mentor also helped me to be more confident. When I when I was about to quit my job, quitting eight-year job is not easy. And I wasn't, in my head, I wanted to be in the UX industry more than being in the graphic design. And I had the skill, but I didn't had the confidence to do that. So having a mentor at that time helped me a lot to break this confidence thing that is, in reality, is just an illusion. Mentorship can help also doing this. And also in growing your, I don't, excuse me, my English is not very good because I speak more in French, but I'm trying to translate French in English at the same time that I'm talking.
You're doing very well. You're doing very well.
So the thing that I wanted to say is there is in mentorship, we advise for the career, but also like soft skills and hard skills. Like we can talk about how you do the design practice, but also when you are doing the design practice, there is something that is very important, is communication, how you interact with the stakeholders, how you interact with the developers, how you interact with your manager, so you can build a good design offer in your company, and you bring real value through design. And voila, it's just we just try to help people to see other things than just the product. That's what we try to say.
Absolutely, Ibtisama. I think it's quite exciting that a woman in tech doesn't just necessarily have to have, the very technical skills. Absolutely, that is key and essential. And, to my point, previously, I said I have different mentors that help me build my confidence and know my personality and my strengths very well, but also mentors from a technical point of view and what I want to focus on in building my skill set as well. And I want to bring in Laura as part of this discussion around soft skills. Laura, in your space, why is soft skills such an important aspect for women in tech?
It's an interesting question, because product management is a lot about interpersonal relationships, right? It's about, like Ibtisam said, how you communicate to your stakeholders, to your team, how you collaborate with other product managers, with designers, with developers, architects, and senior leadership. And so soft skills are at the core of your day-to-day. So technical skills are important. Yes, sure. You need to know how to roadmap. You need to know about strategy and vision, and you need to know about technical documentation. But like that's not at the center of what you do. Your day-to-day is to liaise with other people, is to be in meetings and coordinate and bring in product marketing when you're doing releases, and chat to sales to enable them and get customer success and customer support trained and prepared. And at the end of the day, you are the bridge in between a lot of these different functions and different people. So your soft skills are the ones that shine on your day-to-day, essentially. And that is just on the communication side. There's obviously other types of soft skills about, there's leadership. Being a product manager is being a leader of a team. So you also have to develop and have very strong leadership soft skills. You need to be able to enable your team and to help in conflict management and making sure that things are moving and progressing in the best way for everyone, for your stakeholders and the business, but also for your team and for the people that belong there. Because at the end of the day, the people are not things, and then you also have to navigate that space.
Yeah, Laura, you raise an important point where people think if you're someone involved in tech, you're usually sitting in front of a computer coding furiously and you don't interact and collaborate with other people, which is definitely not the case. So thanks for sharing with us, with regards to soft skills, because collaboration is key in my everyday. I mean, there's nothing else that I do besides collaborate on a day-to-day basis. Ibtisam, I noticed your hand. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to add another soft skill that is really important both for developers, architects, or whatever the role that you are, the hat that you are wearing in the tech industry, is the critical thinking. Is to allow yourself to explore multiple ideas for product design, for example, and also like to really like observe and test and improve the process and go grab feedbacks from the user and feedbacks also from the developers, because the developers also their feedback is really important, and also voilà, that's it. I mean, critical thinking for me is a really great soft skill.
Absolutely, Pisan. And maybe just to add, maybe problem solving skills as well, and the ability to do that. So one of the 21st century skills. But, Nada, I want to come over to you. We've been talking a lot about soft skills that are required. Laura Ibtisam has really unpacked that for us. Maybe, with your expertise, can we focus a little bit on, what are the technical skills that are required to be in a career such as yours as a software engineer?
I guess the most important skill is problem solving. You are always going to be faced with a problem that needs a solution on spot and without further thinking. So you have to be fast and you have to like take decisions and observe all the different aspects of the problem so that you can come with the best solutions in terms of memory, in terms of time consumption and performance, of course. So you have to come up not only with a smart solution, but also a feasible one that is going to be maintainable and everyone will be able to follow along and add it with you, that solution, or work with you. Also, you have to keep an open mind and not fall in love with your own ideas, because if you fall in love with your own ideas, you're never going to grow or like experience the growth that comes with different aspects being merged together to come up with the best solutions for the problems that you're faced with. So I think these are the by far the most important things that you have to have. Regardless of the actual technical skills, you're always going to learn new programming languages. You're always going to learn new technologies. New technologies appear every day and emerge every day. You have to be always following. You have to be always updating yourself with the newest technologies in the market. But in order to do that, you have to keep an open mind. So that is the biggest like soft slash technical skill that you have to have in that field.
I love what you said, because Gartner refers to exactly your point, is the ability to learn, relearn, and unlearn. And we have to do this in this space that we in all the time. I think maybe just what I want to focus on is, what are the resources, the go-to resources? Everyone who's on the call today in this forum, what are the things that we can, provide to them and say, this has really helped me in my career journey? What are those pivotal things that the panelists can share with us in your journey as well? A lot has been said about, I shifted from this to this, or I transitioned from this career to another one. So what can you share in terms of resources specifically with our participants? And I mean, anyone can answer this question.
I guess we all live in a world where internet is possible. So, and a lot of online courses are available in every single topic you can ever imagine. So, I guess that wasn't the case for people from older generations. And I guess we're very, very lucky to have that. So, you can never go wrong with online courses. You will, at most, you will waste a couple of hours, but you will still gain insights and learn new ideas. So I would recommend everyone who is not even from a technical background to um, like do their research and find the high rated courses, and they can never go wrong with that, I guess.
Thanks, Nada, because it reminds me of something that Laura shared with us. She said that she liked computer games, so find your passion. And I'm talking specifically to people on the call today that are thinking about, should I change my careers, or what am I going to do post my matric? Think about what your passion is, because you could probably link it to a tech career. You can link anything these days to a tech career. So start with that passion that Laura spoke about at the beginning of our session as well. Nada, I think your hand is up, so please go ahead.
I just wanted to address the passion point, because I'm one of those people who are not like extremely passionate about something in particular. I have interest in a lot of topics and in a lot of things, so I'm not really passionate about one thing. And I wanted to address that because some people would look at themselves and be really, really hard on themselves when they think, oh, I'm not passionate about what I do. Actually, for careers in tech specifically, you should have to be like persistent more and open to learn and be a fast learner and be like some sort of a hustler, so you don't just follow what or stick to one method. And it will solve itself. It will work itself out. You should not be like the most passionate person. You should not be the person that spends their evenings, waste all their evenings studying and working in one topic because that's their passion. It is super okay for you to be like interested in a lot of things and examining a lot of things and not finding yourself in a specific topic, or not be extremely passionate about a certain topic. And you should not beat up yourself for that. That was my experience, and that was something I had to learn the hard way. So I'm trying to share it for everyone who would just relate to it. If it's your passion, it's great, but if it's not, just be persistent and it will work itself out.
Nada, thanks for being so honest in and sharing with us, because you do have those days where you think you question what you're doing, and I think you're very, very transparent in terms of what you shared as well. At Microsoft, we are taught to fail fast. You spoke about failing, and lots of people don't like failing, and you've got to, if in the tech industry, you've got to be prepared to fail, because it's going to happen. And if you're not going to fail, you're not going to succeed. Fail fast, move forward, and move on, and acknowledge where your areas or your gaps, where your gaps are as well. So, Ibtisam, you want to share with us?
Yes, you were asking about resources. Sometimes we are looking for resources outside of us. Maybe resources are inside of us. For example, when I wanted to change, I didn't have in mind UX as my next step in the first place. I was art director, so I just was like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. It's like, okay, I wanted something new in my life. And then what I did when I quit it is I wasn't confident about a lot of things, about my capabilities, about what will I do next, about the age. I was like, okay, I'm 35. Is it the right moment? I'm not young to start an academic, a new academic journey. I was like thinking about a lot of things. And but what I was sure about is that I didn't want that job anymore. So what I did is I had a break. It's important to have a break and just enjoy your life and observe like what is happening in the markets, how the things are going. Like I was visiting a lot of incubators to see how startups are working. I was just exploring, and I was trying to help. I started to help startups, like, okay, how can we work together? What can I do for you? And then I did that for like few months, and then I traveled around the world to see how things are evolving, because when you are in 8 years behind a computer, you don't know what is happening in the market and in the world. So like I gave my time these moments, and this helped me to experiment a lot of things. So I experimented being like a product manager, but then again I wasn't sure about doing this. And then when the déclic, I mean the hack, started when I started working with the startups. This is when I said, okay, this is exactly what I want to do for the next few years. Maybe in next year or in few other years, I will change and do, like now I am about to change. I am about to go into more agile coaching and the new ways of working. And voila, it's the most important thing is to listen to ourselves. That's the most important thing.
Go ahead, Laura.
It's interesting because as Nada was talking about passion, it kind of had this thought, and then it kind of ties to what Ibtisam was just saying, and is that I think that when I was growing up, and when anyone is growing up, really, like you know so little of the world, right? You're learning about yourself and what you like and what the world is and what's out there. And so you naturally end up having these very strong feelings towards something in particular as you're learning these things. But I think that as you grow older and you start learning more things out there and your horizons open up, I think that passion is not so much the right word, but like what motivates you, right? It's about motivation. So what I've found is that what has kept me going is feeling motivated, feeling like the challenges that I'm facing keep me excited. As soon as I feel like I'm feeling like this is boring or this is not like powering me, then clearly this is not the thing that I am enjoying, and maybe I should be looking at something different. And I think I experienced that throughout my studies and also as a professional, right? And so when I was studying, I started because I loved video games. And then I started learning programming languages, and I was more curious about algorithms and data structures. And then it became architecture. And then eventually I learned about like processes and systems. And then that also became an interest. And then I decided, I created my own company with my husband, and then we were doing this entrepreneurship journey, which was super exciting. And then at some point I was like, you know what, I want to go back to basics. I want to code again, and I want to get really good at coding. And so I went into front end because I like the styling and the UI and the creativity and like the visual part of it. And then eventually I got to a point where I was like, this is not, I enjoy it, but it's not really what is motivating me anymore. So what's the next thing? And luckily at the company, we have book club. And then I read Inspired by Marty Kagan, and it kind of ignited a love for product management and things about product and, like organization systems and productivity and teamwork and especially the vision part and strategy about creating new ideas and exploring those ideas. And so it has been a whole transition naturally. But at the end of the day, what I realize is what's motivating me, it's what has moved me forward. right? And part of that is also that fail fast and make progress. And mentality is like, it doesn't matter where your next motivation is coming from, try it out and see what sticks. See, how did you experience it? Did you like it or not? And then take the next step. But being afraid of like pursuing that new interest or that new motivation, it's actually what sets you back. And so when it comes to resources, I think like Nara mentioned, internet is a big thing. It's out there, but don't keep yourself to a single like source. There's a lot of different school of thoughts and different ways of doing the same thing and different opinions out there, and learning them all, getting to know each one, what works, what doesn't in each one, and forming your own opinion of what is the best way to go into that particular problem or topic has been crucial. So, and even from multiple sources, right? So blogs, it's a big thing. Getting to learn from other people's experiences and what their successes and failures is a great thing. Podcasts are great when you're driving and you're really not doing anything else, or maybe you're cooking or cleaning or whatever. Podcasts are a great resource to learn also from other people's experience. And even though Ibtisam said that books are not the end of it all, books are really great too. And a book was what inspired my current journey. So I think definitely combining all of those things together is really, really powerful.
You know, Laura, I want to acknowledge what you've just said now, because exposure is key, right? When you're planning your career journey as well. And that just in time learning through a podcast or whatever suits you, you know, maybe you're someone who really prefers a hard copy in a book like I do, and not using an ebook or e-reader. But I think that exposure is absolutely key in terms of how you map your career journey. Nada, please go ahead.
As everyone was discussing failures and trying again and getting up on your feet again, I wanted to mention the imposter syndrome. If no one is familiar with that term, it is if you don't think that you deserve the place that you are in, or you don't see yourself going somewhere that you are already in. I think that we tend as women to feel that a lot, and specifically in tech field and tech related fields, because it is promoted to us that is for the big guys with big brains and a very high IQ that we may have, but we are not capable in using the same way that they have. um, During my journey, I have seen people that have almost the same skills that I do, but they go further because they believe in themselves better than I do that for myself. So I wanted to like raise awareness for that point. It is a very, very crucial point in tackling a very big and important topic as the imposter syndrome. Is what everyone is saying. You basically have no way of succeeding. There are multiple ways. You have to keep trying and keep finding the right exposure in the right way, in the right path. For example, Ibtisam's journey is so diverse, and the topics are very, very different from each other. They're not the same, they're not linear. So if I had someone come and tell me that, like, 7 years ago, my life would have been different, because I would have known that it's okay. You're like 18 or 17, and you are not to like set one straight line for your entire life to go on. You're too young. You should experience a lot. That was the point that I wanted to bring to everyone's attention, because I struggled a lot with.
Yeah, I think, Nada, it's important to share our experiences as well, so that other women know that, you know, it's okay, you know, to feel differently from the conventional way. I want to maybe just shift our discussion to, and it's something that you spoke about, Nada, as well, is the challenges for women in the tech space as well, because that's a reality. And you know, I could share my experiences, but that's not my role today. But if you could maybe just kick off this discussion about focusing specifically as a woman What has been your challenges in the tech space?
For me, it was the big challenge was with myself more than with others, is the confidence. I wasn't confident enough to talk about my abilities to my colleagues or my manager or my job interviewer. So I was always like trying to to talk really slow and really in a low voice, with a low voice. And I couldn't show off my work. I couldn't I was thinking, like Nada said, that I wasn't good enough, and this was my biggest, and this is why I tried to go to find the help. I mean, I was 35. I was really not knowing exactly. I mean, I could have stayed in that job forever. That's not the case. It wasn't a job problem. It was myself problem. I mean, it was more an inner. It's like there is something that is calling you to go somewhere else, but you don't have the you have the capability, but you don't have the confidence to go to that place, to go outside of your comfort zone. And that was my biggest challenge. But I'm really glad again, because there is always someone to help you. There is always a lot of resources to help you, like podcasts. I love podcasts. I'm hosting a podcast, but it's in French. And we are talking about confidence, about why we should collaborate with others, and why we should network, and why we should read books, and why we should continue to learn and unlearn or relearn whatever we are doing. And yeah, so what helped me to go out of this lack of confidence was writing. I started the blog, and then I started my podcast, and this is what helped me to go out and speak up more about what I like to do, what I'm doing, and how you do it, and how you bring fun in your life with your job, with your passion, and voila, that's it. It's just writing was a very good exercise. And also networking. I was talking to a lot of designers, developers, going to meetings like this, webinars and events, and just this traveling, looking what's happening around, and also a lot of reading. But writing and podcasting was the thing that really helped me to talk.
Thanks, Ibtisam. You know, what you've mentioned is really key in terms of self-belief. And believing in yourself is absolutely critical. One would have thought that, you know, there would have been outside influences, but it was actually you who was actually the, you know, the blocker in your own career. And often we do find that in our careers as well. Nada and Laura, maybe if you just want to add to, you know, what's been your experience as a woman in tech as well.
Do you want to go, Nada?
No, it's totally fine.
Okay, I'll go. So I think in our case, one interesting thing that I found is that unfortunately in tech, women kind of start at a disadvantage sometimes, and it's not, I don't think it's necessarily something that is like a rule, but it might come from the other people's backgrounds, right? And sometimes women start with less credibility than men, and so the challenge for the women is to build that credibility, to gain the trust and the respect of your peers in what you do, in what you know, and who you are. And in that sense, confidence is key. I think that at different points in my career, especially when I'm starting on something new, that imposter syndrome, it becomes real, right? You have all this experience behind you that backs all this expertise that you bring, but because you're in uncharted territories, you kind of feel like you know nothing, even though you actually know a lot. So the first step for me, I think at the beginning, I kind of started with feeling like I needed to do things perfectly. Like everything that I did had to be done to like the best extent possible, because otherwise like I was not in the right place, or I didn't like earn my stripes to where I was at that point. So then after like a few bumps in the way, I kind of realized that asking for the help is the super important thing, and sharing early and being open about where you are in your journey, asking the questions and making sure that you have those networks and those mechanisms to reach out and say like, hey, I'm new in this particular thing. I'm keen to learn. I'm doing this. I have this idea. What do you think? Don't be afraid to receive feedback, to receive criticism, and to never take it on a personal way. I think that at some points I did feel as if when certain people address me in a given way, they were kind of like, I don't know, like indirectly thinking less of me. But then I realized that I'm putting that on them, right? Whether that is true or not, it doesn't matter. I should just ignore that idea and rather still think of what is it that I'm here to do? What is it that I'm here to learn? What am I looking for? And rather chase that and stop thinking or paying attention to those things that I'm reading in between the lines from other people. And definitely reaching out has been an amazing resource to learn and upskill, and then giving that back, being there for other people reaching out to me too.
Absolutely, Laura. And Simon Sinek says it so well that young people are mostly about impact. If they're not driving impact, they move on to another job. And that is quite essential for you to feel as if you have made a change, you have added benefit to your workspace as well. So Nada, over to you.
I guess the two main points that were made are very great points. That the fight is with yourself, and that you start at disadvantage. As women in tech, like Laura said, you always start in disadvantage in so many aspects. Your image is very, very important, and it starts as bad. So by default, people like start a new job, and you would like give them a 3 months period and then judge their performance. But for women, you have to be judged at the first day, at the first like interactions with your team, with your peers, with your code. For different reasons, you have always to work to prove yourself worthy of the place that you are in, unlike most other people that start their jobs already with that boost. um, Also, there is a very important point you in the image part. um, you have always to pick your words very carefully when being in charge of any product or project, because when men can be called like passionate, and they're like too sorry, my English is not my first language, so I'm struggling to find words. Like for men, they're like, if they get too excited or too emotional about something, they're that's great, that's good for them. But for you, you're bossy, you're angry, you got called a lot of names that uh, other people won't get called for. They actually will be praised if they do like show some actions. And I don't know if I'm making any sense, but that was my experience. Whenever I'm too invested in something, I got the feedback that you should tone it down when other peers of mine don't get the same things. And a very, very important point that I myself wasn't a subject of is the discriminations that happen against married women and pregnant women, and the amount of discrimination that they face is very, very, very huge. And also like it's not always like we're not gonna hire you or that. It's by also like giving women like easier jobs or easier tasks, because they don't think they have the time or capacity to do better. And that have always infuriated a lot of my peers and friends. And I think that is one of the things that needs to end in the tech field as a whole.
Thanks, Nadia. I think, the challenges that we face as women in the tech space is quite a sensitive topic. And thanks for sharing your experience and being so honest about your experiences as well. Nadia, one of the things that you mentioned right at the beginning as well is about building your brand. It's such an important thing. You should look at it as, what people see you. The first thing that they look at is like, the way you dress or whatever the case may be. But your brand, especially in the online space, is key in terms of what you're going to be building over the next couple of years as well. I just want to remind you, we are going to have a Q&A session, questions that you could ask the panelists. You could direct your question either generally or to a key one of the panelists as well. So there is a Q&A. It's separate from the chat. So you'll see Q&A and you're able to pop in your question there if you've got any questions for a specific panelist or just in general as well. That's also coming up. As we bring this fireside chat today to a close, I really want to think about, what are the lessons learned and what would you, tell your younger self? Laura, Nada, Ibtisan, if you could reflect and back and say, what are the lessons learned and how can you, give that advice to, our participants on the call today and say, this is really what was a challenge for me, but this is how I overcame it as well. Nada, I'll start with you.
I guess the advice that I would give my younger self is a little technical. I would ask my younger self to stop wandering around different programming languages and just focus more on projects, because you can learn a whole new programming language just by starting a new project in that language. You just pick up a project and start to write code in it, and you will learn a lot of things along the way about the language, about the structure. And I would also advise myself to contribute more to open source code, and to find a mentor that would help me in my journey and help customize a learning path for the place that I wanted to be in.
Thanks, Nada. You mentioned mentor, and I saw in the chat participants are talking about I need a mentor. For me, finding a mentor is very difficult as well, because you may not have the right affiliations or network, etc. But find someone, you'll be very surprised. Find someone who you really have a rapport with, who you like, who you may just hit it off with them. And it could even be like a teacher, because in this panel discussion we've been speaking about soft skills as well. The communication that Laura spoke about, and Nada spoke about critical thinking and etc. Right? So it's finding that person that could really help you build your career, but it doesn't have to be someone that is in tech either. It may just be someone that like Ibtisan says, helps you build that confidence that you need as well. Like the panelists have said this over and over again. You could learn something from a book, but you can't learn that necessarily from someone who's going to engage, who may be older or more mature in the space. So rather just think of someone who you really, really have a rapport with. And you'll be surprised once you start thinking that way and not thinking of someone I don't know, someone, in the tech space. Think about how you can really find a mentor and build your self-belief before you even get into the technical ability as well. Coming back to our closing remarks, Laura, I'm going to hand over to you just to give us your final thoughts.
Thank you, Ronel. I think in my case, lessons learned, what advice I would give to myself is actions speak louder than words. And I think that I really have learned, especially in the past, I think maybe 2 to 3 years, is that you need to lead by example. You can say many things, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that you are living up to that thing that you're saying. So instead of just telling people do this or do that or follow what I'm saying, you just lead by setting the example. So do the things that you think need to be done, try them out, and then show them to the people and get buy-in and get that that credibility up by using your own actions. And so take the lead of your life. Like, nobody's going to live your life for you. So if this is the thing that you want to do, if this is the thing that you want to try, if this is the thing that you are very like convinced that it's the right thing to do, then go ahead, try it out, and then show to people that that is indeed true, that what you're saying is not just words, it's real and it's powerful and it can be done.
Thanks, Laura. Over to you, Ibtisan.
It's quite the same for me. There is true learning that I keep in my daily life. First of all, is now when I'm blocked or when I have a decision to make or something like this, I just write it down. This is for me a practice that is really useful, because when you write something, you can you are making it real, concrete, and you can make a decision. For me, this is really important. We do this in our workshops in UX design, etc., and it is also can be made in the real life. And the other thing is practice. For me, practice is everything. When anything you want in life, you have just practice it. I mean, when I started doing developments, coding, I was just trying, just doing it and discovering what would happen. And this is how I moved through the coding, and in design it's the same thing. For example, the last few months I started a little side project about NFTs, and I didn't thought that I was capable of doing graphic illustration and creating NFTs, but I was just like, okay, let's play around and see what this will bring me, and it started like this, and now it's a real project, and yeah, just practice and try, experiment. Voilà, that's it.
Absolutely. We've actually, covered quite a bit in your closing remarks as well. We're going to move over to the Q&A now. There's lots and lots of questions, ladies. So a general question from the participants is, anyone could respond to this. How do I start? That's always, I want to get involved in a tech career, but where do I actually, start? Any advice, ladies?
I can jump in. I would say just first start reading. Go Google, right? Google is your best friend. So what is that one thing that you're really curious about, and then Google about it. And the whole internet is a rabbit hole. So that first link that you read is gonna make you ask yourself another question, and then go and Google the next thing, and then Google the next thing, and eventually find something that you're so curious about that you wanna try do something about it. And that's where I would start. So whether that is you really like the visuals, and that naturally drives you into front end development, or into design and UX, or maybe your challenge is about, I want to envision a different world, or I want to create this new product. Maybe debates around entrepreneurship and product management, or maybe you're really curious about data. Oh, I want to really learn about like what happens in this space, or what is the state of X or Y like, and maybe that leads you into data analysis or data science. And I don't think there's like a general starting point. It really depends on what are the questions that are itching in your mind that you want to get answers to them, and then start from there.
Thank you so much, Laura. There's quite a bit of questions around this point, where do I start? Is any of the panelists want to add to what Laura's just indicated about, reading? Anything else that the participants need to do?
I think the really important part is for you to start, like, if you want to pick any career path, you would pick a project and try to do a project that you would find that's either interested or not interested. So if you're interested, you would continue, and of course you will find like next steps or points of weaknesses that you need to work on, and that's where you will always continue from. So I guess it's not the how, it's the what you're gonna do in your journey, I guess.
Thanks so much, Nada. We'll move on to another question. People are starting to share the types of subjects that they studied in their degrees as well. Someone's focused purely on English, Ibtisam, and they said, how do they use that, because they've done a degree in English or focused on languages rather, how do they get involved in the tech space?
I didn't get the question. You mean
yeah.
If you don't speak English, how you...
No, maybe just to clarify, Ibtisam, so this person has studied English, they've specialized in English, but how can they get involved in a career in the tech space?
Okay, I got you. First thing is to do some research to see what is really can interest you. Like there's a lot of things to do in tech. There's like something to do with data, something to do with pure engineering and software design, something to do with management, digital, a lot of things. I mean, first thing, like in the UX process, we start always by research. So maybe just do some research and just capture what are the roles or the jobs or the fields that interest you in the tech industry. Maybe you are more interested into data. So in data, you can do a lot of things. You can be a data scientist, a data analyst, a lot of things. So just do research, learn about these jobs. What I did also was, for me, I was sure about what I do, that I wanted to have a career in design. So what I used to do is to look up there is like a lot of design communities, and I connected with these design communities and started to network and ask directly people that are working, for example, in UX research or in product design or in whatever other role in design, and speak with them, like ask them questions, and voila. And there is another thing that I used to do is to read jobs descriptions because this makes me like know exactly what you can do I mean, this makes the role more concrete in my head. So I know that I need to align the IT with the business, and so yeah. And then I was like, what is it to align IT with business? And then I start like looking what is it, and okay, there are some methods that I need to learn, and etc. This is like just do research, look like whatever you can find in internet, talk to the people that are doing the job that you want to do. And there is something also that I do is that I put some goals, and I do it like I treat my career just like a project. So like I set up goals and a roadmap and the strategy, and then like I move little by little. So first of all, I wanted to do UX research, but UX research take a lot of time. No one wants to pay for that, so it was really difficult to go in the market for that. So I said, okay, I can maybe start with UX design and do some UX research inside of UX design, and voila, you can just try to build your roadmap a little bit step by step, and then move forward.
Ibtisam, key things that just what you've shared. I've never thought about, looking at job descriptions, because by doing that, you can identify the technical skills gap as well. And I think that's a great tip, to give our participants as well. And funny enough, this person has mentioned that they've looked at job descriptions and they've seen that, computer science is always a requirement as well. So Laura, this question is specifically for you. This person has studied and focused specifically on history, but they want to go into product management as well. And, they want to know, is it possible? Is it something that they can still pursue?
Yes, 100%. Product management is kind of a funny area to be in, because I don't think product management means the same to everyone. And everyone has their own way to do product management. But there are key things that are kind of common to all of those different ways of doing product management. And vision is a really important one, which comes from imagining a world, just on the abstract. If you have this product that you're caring about, what can you imagine outside of the box? Like, go wild. Don't even limit yourself to the current capabilities, the current state of the world, that just try and come up with really interesting ideas and socialize them to people. And to do that, you don't need to be a developer. You don't need to be a designer. I've met people that are in product management that come from marketing or from sales or from languages background. Like, it doesn't matter, because it just requires you to be really creative, have a vision, think about how do you make that vision a reality, craft that strategy, build that roadmap, like Ibtisam was saying. So come up with ideas on step by step, little by little, how do you make that vision a reality? And then good organizational skills, and just develop your listening skills and your speaking skills and communication. And none of that is specific to a degree or to a particular background. Anyone can actually develop those skills.
Thank you so much, Laura. There's another question. This comes from Kemi. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I'm a communication specialist and I want to gain tech skills that will advance my career in communications. I'm conflicted if I need to transition into tech, abandon my career in communications. What will you advise? Anyone on the panel wants to give that a go?
I can interject.
Thanks.
Or
Laura.
maybe Nara. You haven't said anything.
You can go.
I think this ties back to also the question about English and what Ibtisam was saying. Like, tech is everywhere, and you can do tech from any place, right? And so if your passion and your degree and what you want to be involved in is communications, you can still do in tech. So what is it specifically within the space of communication that and tech, where is that overlap? Maybe you're interested in developing a system or websites that will enable you to reach a broader audience, or teach maybe other people about communications through tech, or maybe you can be a part of a company in the communication space that is doing disruptive things in that space. So there's no restriction really other than the one that you put yourself into. So maybe see within the space of communications, what is the thing that is related to technology that you're really interested in, and then do the research and explore that space.
Thank you so much, Laura. There's quite a bit of questions around product management for you. So another question is, can product management in tech be useful in the filmmaking business?
I would say product management is relevant in many, many different ways. Because at the end of the day, putting together ideas, crafting a roadmap, and building projects to advance that is generic. It's not specific to tech. Actually, product management started in more physical products, in factories, in the chain that production chain that a product follows from inception, ideas, design, to actually the steps that it takes to build these things. Product management is not inherently tech related, and you can apply it to anything in life. You can apply it to digital products and physical products, but you can also apply it to processes and services, and just even interpersonal relationships. How do you craft a whole philosophy in how you do a certain thing? You can do it with product management skills. So definitely film business, 100%.
Thank you so much, Laura. Nada, a question from an anonymous participant. How do you stay focused?
I usually like plan my moves ahead, so I know what exactly I need to finish in which period of time, and that gives me the freedom of gathering all the information that I have about my next moves, and I plan them very well. Planning ahead really helps you stay on track and inside the scope that you have for the tasks that you want to finish. It is very hard in the tech field to stay focused on one thing. You have always a lot of things on your mind, but you have to like isolate your thinking into the next moves that you have to do as quick and as fast as you want. And that would be my advice for you to stay focused.
Thank you so much, Nada. Another question, I'm studying marketing. I have a small scale business I want to grow. How do you advise I put product design and management into my business using tech? Laura, I think that's another question for you. Lots of interest around here. Yeah. Laura, lots of interest around product management.
Yeah, I can see that. But I think like there was also a question about product design, and I think Ibtisam would be the right person to answer that. So I don't know, Ibtisam, if you want to start maybe.
So the question was how to deal with the product designers, or how to get started. What is the question exactly? How to go with the product design? That's it.
Yes, how to implement it within your business.
Within your business. Okay.
Yes.
So how to hire product designers and yeah. So there is first of all, like maybe the recruitments, like how to recruit product designers. First of all, you need to understand what is the real role of a product designer, because when you don't understand the real job, you cannot hire people. Sometimes we meet with the recruiters who doesn't know what we really do, and we have to explain to them. So maybe first of all, like do research and understand very well what is it the role of a product designer, and then maybe also go to some I don't know what we can maybe start with the I don't know how to answer to that. For as a recruiter, I never been as a recruiter for myself. So what I did when I was doing some interview session is I just I prepared my my questions, and what most of the people of the designers I was interviewing actually was more of UI designer or visual designer than product designer. This is why it is important to really know your goals, what you wanna work for with this product designer, because when you don't know your goals, when you don't define your goals, you cannot hire the right persons. And voilà, this is what I can say about this.
Thank you so much, Ibtisam. I think you've also just responded to Gifty's question about what is product design. Back to you, Laura.
Cool. Well, if it's a marketing company, right? Small marketing business. So I would say the first question that you need to ask yourself to start in product management is, what is the need that your business is addressing when it comes to your customers? Why are your customers coming to you? And then based off that understanding of who your customers are, what is the things that they want, then you can shape your product. So your product should be a description or a way that you are satisfying that need. And once you have identified that, and what is the product that you're selling, or the service, if it's a service, right? When we talk about product management, it doesn't necessarily need to be a thing you buy. It could also be a service that you are receiving from or giving someone. And once you identify that, and then it's imagining, right, what is that service or that product that you want to offer in 5 years time, and then asking yourselves the question, how do I get there? And then putting a plan. What is the next most important thing that I have to do to get me there? And maybe there are many different things that you have to do to get you there, and then that's where the challenge lies. What then, among all the important things that I can do to get me there, which is the one that I should do next? And to consider that, it's important to also have goals. So like Ibtisen said, there are many things that you could do, but what is your immediate goal? And then choose the one that advances you towards that idea, that vision, but also that is helping you achieve your goals. And that's how you start in product management.
Thank you so much, Laura. There's a lot of questions coming up about cybersecurity, and I'm not sure if this is the right forum to raise that question, but is there anyone on the panel who can talk about how you start a career? Where do you start for cybersecurity? Otherwise, it's something that we can potentially ask Tech for Dev to focus on in future sessions.
Unfortunately, I don't know a lot about cybersecurity, but you can always, as I mentioned before, research the online courses that are available on the largest like tech providing courses. And I guess you will find a lot of YouTubers that are, YouTube is a great treasure for that. You will find people blogging their lives about software development and cybersecurity. So it would be a great place to start.
Thank you so much, Nada, for that advice. I think it's something that Tech for Dev can definitely look at future sessions on a monthly basis. A question from Aminat, and it's very similar to an anonymous question as well. They've studied finance and they want to go into data science. What are the challenges regarding this?
I guess it would be starting with the math that is required for the data science. So math is always the first step you want to take when starting or thinking about a career in data. That would be the first step. You would have to learn the math. Then I guess you would have to learn a little bit of Python, and then learn about the different paths in the data science field, and pick the one that is closest to your liking. And you can find a lot of resources that will help you in that. The data field is very, very huge and very, very diverse. So there's no right answer for everything, but they all share the common background of Python and R and the math, of course.
Thank you so much, Nada. Yeah, the focus again on STEM-related subjects as well as key, such as maths as well. There's a question about, I'm going for 3D and mixed reality. Please, I'd like to know, what should I be expecting? I've studied sociology. That's quite an interesting one. Any advice, ladies?
I had a little bit of experience in computer graphics and 3D. And the thing that was really at the core of it, which I struggled with, I gotta say, was algebra. So going back again to the idea of math, definitely in the space, that is key. So yeah, dust the algebra concepts and really like take them to heart, because in the 3D space, there's a lot of it.
Thank you so much, Laura. I'm acknowledging just what's going on in the Q&A chat as well. They're calling us, Tech Laura and Tech Nada, and so they've given us new names as well. So, I think we've shared quite a bit, and as we bring this fireside to a chat, I've learned so much from the three of you panelists on this session as well. And I'm going to hand back over to Tui. Thank you so much, ladies, for such an impactful and powerful session.
Thank you so much, Ronelle. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Nada. Thank you, Tisa. I must say the session has been really, really impactful, right? I've learned a lot, as I'm sure other attendees have as well. Ladies, we might not be able to take everybody's questions. I mean, of course, there are a lot of questions. However, the speakers will try to answer as many as they can by typing in the answers on the call. And of course, remember the open day is monthly, so you can always join in next month. For those that ask questions around cybersecurity, 3D MR, we'll try to, bring up specialists, industry experts in that field, so that they are able to understand your questions and give proper advice. But for those in product management, product design, and software development, I'm sure you've learned a lot from the panelist selection for this month. So thank you very much once again. Very quickly, we'll take pictures just so the speakers can concentrate on answering other questions, and so so that we don't distract them so much while they're doing that. Yeah, so I'm just going to change the views so we can, my colleague on the call can take the picture. Usman, you'd have to coordinate this session, so we'll see what works for you. So everyone, kindly turn on your camera. Okay, that's fine. Hi, Usman, can you hear me?
Hi, Tony. Yes, I can. Okay.
So let us know if that's perfect.
Okay. All right, perfect.
All right, thank you so much, Usman. We have no idea you're about to take that. I just hope it comes out well, all right? All right, thank you so much, Usman. So to everyone on the call today, I'm briefly going to be explaining some of the programs that we do at Tech for Dev, particularly the Women Techsters program. I know there was a lot of buzz on the chat box from some of our Women Techsters beneficiaries. Those were the ladies who got selected into our fellowship program. They are not fully onboarded yet, so there were a lot of questions flying around like, oh, how do I connect and how do I get to meet the people in my learning track? Well, I'm going to explain all of that before I bring the session to a close. So the Women Techsters program initiative sort of reaches out to different women in different space, right? In the tech space, starting from those that are at the beginners level, those that are in the intermediate level, and those that are sort of experts, not senior experts, but they know their way around tech. Now, what we do in the Women Techsters Fellowship is to ensure that we carry out advocacy programs. We first of all want to spread the word out there that there's something called tech, and it's something that can change your lives completely. And that leads us to our advocacy programs, which is the Tell Girls Drive and the Women Techsters Open Day. The Women Techsters Open Day is our virtual advocacy program, such as that's the very one you're on the call here today, right? So it's that program where we bring up tech experts in different fields, community experts, tech recruiters, just to talk about everything in the tech space, from challenges you can acquire to resources that are available, to communities that are helpful, and all of that. The Tell Girls Drive Advocacy Program is that program that reaches out to our target audience in the field. Now, this is specifically for young girls, from the age of 6 to 18. We go to schools, high schools, secondary schools, as you might want to call it, and then we talk to them about the advantages of studying STEM courses, STEM-related courses. There's a lot of bias surrounding how that ladies should not study STEM-related courses because it's too hard, or because they're going to fail at it, or because it's a man job or something like that, right? So we go out there to just sort of change their mindset, and in that way, we believe that a lot of women leave high school and are well informed when they're making career choices. They know that, okay, so this is available for me. I can do this, I can explore. So that's what we do in our Tell Girls Drive Advocacy program. Now, for our intermediate program, we have the bootcamp and the fellowship program. The bootcamp is a beginner level program, which means that as much as you might not know anything whatsoever in tech, the bootcamp helps you to learn the basics, helps you to learn the scratch, and then from there you're able to make informed choices. Oh, I think product design is what I'm passionate about. If you listen closely to the panel session today, you heard when Nada talked about exploring, right? At the point where you do not know what you want to do. So at the bootcamp, we allow that you can, in a particular cohort, come in for data science, and maybe you find out that, oh, data science is not really what I'm passionate about. In the next cohort, you can come in for product design. The bootcamp just helps you find your space in the tech field. We just concluded the cohort 2.1 application process, right? And a lot of people have registered, and we have not sent out any emails yet, but keep your fingers crossed. We are already screening the applications, and soon enough you get to know if you made it into the bootcamp program, or if you have to be on a wait list, because we had a lot of applications. We had over 6,000, 7,000 applications. So just keep your fingers crossed. Soon enough you'd get feedbacks on the application process. Now, the bootcamp, the good news about the bootcamp is that the bootcamp is a recurring program. So even if you have missed the opportunity to apply for this current cohort, in the next month, you should be expecting another call for application, or in the next 2 months, depending on how many people have to be on the wait list, right? But we're going to have multiple bootcamp this year, so you might just want to keep a lookout for the next bootcamp program. But yeah, the bootcamp is for people starting out at the beginners level. It caters for you to know things from the scratch, and until you're a bit informed to make great decisions as to what you want to do in the tech space. Now, for our fellowship program, now this is our flagship program, a very important program that we hold so dearly. The fellowship program is 1 year long. It's that intensive. We do 6 months of virtual training, and then we try as much as possible to do 6 months of internship training, where you get to learn hands-on experience. You're being placed on a job where you get to learn on the job. You just don't have the skills that you learned in the classroom. You get to have the work skills and all of that. In the fellowship training, we tutor our beneficiaries on soft skills that are essential to thriving in the communication space, right? And they also have access to mentorship. We pair them. I saw a lot of questions in the chat box about access to mentors and all of that. In the fellowship program, we're able to do all of this for our beneficiaries, because we understand how mentorship is quite important to being productive in the tech space, standing the test of time in the tech space. So we try as much as possible to find mentors that are able to help our beneficiaries make informed decisions. Now, the last program we have on the Women Techsters program, Women Techsters Initiative, is the Masterclass. Now, the Masterclass is sort of an advanced program. If you are already at an intermediate or expert level in product design, the Masterclass is like a 2 to 3 day training where you get to learn things that are specific to your learning track. Yeah, so that's what the masterclass is for. The masterclass just sort of dives in and digs in deeper to that particular learning track that you are already on, So for all our programs, currently the bootcamp program occurs in 5 learning tracks, which is the product design, product management, software dev, data science, and cybersecurity, whereas the Women Techsters Fellowship expanded into 3 more learning tracks, which is the blockchain, 3D and mixed reality, and then mobile applications. So the Women Techsters Fellowship has 8 learning tracks. The bootcamp has 5 learning tracks. Hopefully before the end of this year, we'll also have 8 learning tracks as the fellowship, so as to be able to create more opportunities for people. So from Tech for Dev, under the Women Techsters Initiative, in partnership with Microsoft, Central Bank of Egypt, and the Islamic Development Bank, this is what we do across 15 African countries for now. We cut across Ethiopia, Egypt, Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, South Africa, Morocco, South Sudan, DR Congo, Madagascar, Angola, and Algeria, and a few more that I really can't remember, but 15 African countries, right? You can follow us on social media so that you get to know more about the programs that we offer. Just in case you need to send us any inquiry email whatsoever, I'll be dropping the Open Day email address here. That's what the Open Day is for. It's an advocacy program that helps you to know all that we get to offer you. It's not enough to bring the experts on the call to tell you how their journey went if we do not help you start yours. And that is why we provide these opportunities to help you start your own career journey. So very quickly, I would hand over to my colleague Usman. He has a little bit of announcements to make, right? So I'll hand over to him. He will take the announcements and then we'll call it a day. Once again, thank you so very much, ladies. It's a pleasure to have you on the call. Over to you, Usman.
Hi, thank you very much. And thanks to all the speakers. It was really an amazing session. Just very briefly, my name is Usman. I'm the Communications Associate at Tech for Dev. I would like every one of us to share a bit of what we have learned so far, today on our social media platforms. Tag us at Tech for Dev across platforms. We just want to get a feedback on what you've learned so far. And if you're not following us, this is a very good time for you to follow us. Follow us on our social media platforms, on Instagram at Tech for Dev, on Facebook Tech for Dev HQ, on Twitter Tech for Dev HQ, and on LinkedIn as well, Tech for Dev. Follow us, and then you see you'll be the first person to get any information that we are posting out in terms of our training programs and all of the trainings Tony mentioned earlier. The bootcamp, as I said, is recurring. So if you have any interest in any of the tech skills that have been presented here so far, you have the opportunity to register in the next cohort. Thank you all and have a good night.
All right, thank you so much, Usman. Do have a wonderful day, everybody. See you in the next edition. I do hope that you invite your friends, your families, your sisters, your nieces, your cousins, everybody, just so that they can get to learn. Thank you so much, Ronel. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Yutusa. Thank you, Nada. All right, bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you, bye-bye.